Hello, and welcome to Coming Home with Mama T. I'm your host, Tiara, aka Mama T. And on this podcast, we explore the journey of creating the life of our desires through mastering manifestation, maintaining a positive mindset, and living luxuriously. Today, we are diving into a conversation about being in the flow state, as I like to call it, which basically means that we are really practicing getting out of the mind and into the body, finding what feels good and really like listening to our intuition. So it's kind of twofold, right? So I don't know about you, but how I process life as I'm moving through life is like sometimes I'm like, oh, I should drink water. And then I will allow myself to be like, oh, well, where is my water? Oh, my water's on the table. Oh man, I'm in the middle of a meeting, and, and I start like thinking about all the reasons why right this second I can't do the thing that my brain just told me to do, or my intuition just told me to do, or whatever, just like this feeling, right? Like I had this feeling, I had this like impulse, if you will, and then I allowed myself to just like think about it. It was water. It's like not like in that moment, not a life or death situation, but it was not answered, if you will. And something I am really putting into practice is really following these hits because I do see them as intuitive hits. I know that some people are like, well, I have an impulse like problem, if you will. It doesn't have to be a problem unless you want to make it a problem, but like I have this impulsivity that leads to something that I don't desire to have for myself. So if you were someone that's like, okay, if I follow my impulses, it leads me down a pathway that is not what I truly desire, then okay, this might not be the practice for you, and that's okay. That is something else to work on, right? Really finding, and it might be even just like a deeper practice of, okay, like finding the impulse that actually is an alignment, really like figuring out what is an alignment for what it is that you desire. And then when that impulse comes, like is that a alignment impulse or is that a like an impulse from fear or whatever, like something else that's pulling you away? So really that's an invitation for more awareness around where you're going. But for me, I find that I have impulses and then I will have the fear comes after, right? The fear isn't the impulse. The impulse is the magic. And then I will talk myself out of it or try to rationalize what to do around it rather than just like going for it, right? Going in the moment. And so for my like personal practice, I've been finding, okay, when I say like I should drink some water, if I actually sit up and drink the water, then oh my God, like I feel better or something in my body. Or I do any like random things where I was just like last night is a great example where I was like, you know what, I want to take a bath. And I took my bath and it felt great. And then I got invited to like hang out with some friends and I went and hung out with my friends. And as I was hanging out with my friends, it was just nice to just be there. I didn't necessarily have any sort of like crazy moment or anything. I did have one lady come to me and she was like, were you on a magazine recently, like the cover of a magazine? And I was like, I was not, but now it's on my list of things that I need to accomplish in my life. So I feel like that was a magic moment. Like, had I not gone out, you know, I would not have had that thing. But if I had overthought, like, oh, I don't want to drive and I don't want to do this, and well, you know what? Like, ultimately, I want to spend time with some friends. So let's do it. And so I wouldn't have had that moment if I like talked myself out of it. Would it have been like the end of the world? No, I would have sat and watched anime and it would have been fine. But I got to have a different experience because I followed the impulse. I followed the call of like, what is it that I most want right now? And so being able to pick between the things, what do I most want to experience overall? Do I want to experience being alone? Do I want to experience being with people? Do I want to experience eating a vegetable or something like not processed? Or do I want to experience eating McDonald's and not making it mean anything either? Just like following the flow. I find it also like in my body, there's when I'm like in the mode of like, what do I want to eat, for example? I think about, okay, well, this is what I have. And I can think about, okay, well, this is what it's going to taste like if I cook it this way, da, da, da. And then I also think about like, okay, when it hits my stomach, how is it going to feel? Like this, okay, the pizza, it's my body's telling me the pizza's not it today. Like it's gonna be greasy, it's gonna like hit in a weird way. But ooh, like some salmon. How do we feel about salmon? Like, like and like literally like just slowing down and listening to the body. Yes. How do we feel about it? We're going into the feeling, we're getting into the body around these things and taking action based off of that good feeling, not like this like fleeting high, right? Like so often we're chasing this instant gratification. And so not so much the instant gratification, what is the long term? Like what is the full on desire? If I desire to feel good and happy and healthy in my body, what is it that like my body's calling for right now? And you know what? Sometimes it's like if you're like, okay, but like I'm craving a Burger King original chicken sandwich right now. That's weird. Or whatever. If we you can get into the whole, okay, well that's weird. That's not good for me. Da, 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 blah, blah, blah. It's or you can think about like, okay, it's one chicken sandwich. It's like what my body's gonna want and what it wants now. And then, tomorrow is your body wanting the same thing? Not necessarily. You know, 365 days of it is probably not the best choice, but you know I knowing my body, like okay, it wants this right now, and then it might want like, I don't know, a smoothie next or something else, like it just allowing the space to play. Do I want to drink right now? Is my body feeling, the vodka soda, the wine, the whatever, or like, can a kombucha or ooh, a soda water with bitters? Like that's been a kind of a fun thing for me to explore as well. Is like, okay, do I really want to drink or do I just want something to sip on? Right. And if I find like, okay, like I really don't want that like alcohol. I just want something to sip on. Soda water with bitters, I yet to be charged for one. So like it's great, right? You get a little flavor, you get some bubbles, you feel like you're drinking something, and it's also typically served in a like a highball or a double glass. So like you get a full, like a nice huge drink, and it kind of looks like you're drinking a cocktail because you got a little lime, it's got some color to it. So like no one's really asking what you're drinking for the most part. So it's really nice, right? So it's this exploration of self and the flow of self, which is so magical. Really leaning into, okay, where are we going today? What is in alignment for us today? And yes, it's okay to ask yourself questions. I know I talked about being in flow and take following an impulse, but sometimes we don't get that impulse, right? That's the other thing, right? Listening for the impulse, the like, okay, it's time to drink water. Okay, like I can feel it in my throat that it's getting a little dry. It's time to drink water. I said it's time to drink water. Like everything is like talking to me right now, yeah? So I drink the water. Yeah, I literally drank the water. All right. So we have this impulse. And then we also have this moment where we're kind of just in free flow. Like I was saying about yesterday going out was like, I didn't have like an impulse either way. I was just like, it'd be nice to go out. I don't necessarily want to do. I literally just said it would be nice to go out. Let's leave it at that. Let's not go down the rabbit hole and explain. We can look into how much it would be to get an Uber, how long it would take to take a metro or public transit or whatever, and we can look at like how long it's going to take to drive. Okay, like what is the premium version of what you want to do and go with that, right? And it's all great and perfect and wonderful, and you can learn something new about yourself along the way, and whatever, you never know, right? Picking the thing that feels the best. And I was like, oh, I am not spending like 2 hours on public transit to get to this place, and I'm definitely not gonna spend that much for an Uber or a Lyft or whatever. Nope, Waymo them go there. So you know what, let's drive. You know what? We haven't driven that far in a minute. Let's let's hop in the car. Let's have a little one-on-one time with our girl, right? My car's name is Sasha. So let's open Sasha up a little bit. We open her up. Oh, we need a little gassy gas. Oh, how we just passed somewhere that's had the least amount, like the lowest rate for that you've seen in a while. Might as well stop and roll up in there, get a little gassy gas. Let's listen to something that sounds good, maybe some good music, maybe a fun audiobook, whatever. There's the opportunities are endless. We get there, we hang out, we have fun with friends. You know what? I'm feeling a little tired. Everybody else isn't ready to go. I don't have to push myself. I'm feeling tired. I'm feeling the call. Oh my gosh, that Burger King original chicken sandwich that you had a craving for is now there's a Burger King that's going to be open if you leave home for home right now. That's right up the street. Let's get it. Let's go. You haven't been to a Burger King in like 2 years. Get after it. Right? These are the things, right? And we can celebrate it. We can listen to ourselves. We can have a good time if we allow ourselves to do it, right? Allow ourselves to be in the flow and not overthink it. That is my practice, right? My practice of not overthinking it. And if you're someone that might have like an anxious mind, if you're someone that has this thing like, okay, you have a thought and then you like have to have like 19 million thoughts about your thought. Think about the fact that the amount of time that you spent thinking about the thing rather than doing the thing, like you could probably be done with the thing if you didn't just like think about it so much, right? Like by time we outthink, oh my gosh, I don't want to fold the laundry today. Like it's gonna take forever. Like, well, what if I just like doom scroll and TikTok and da da da? Okay, like we did all of these things, none of which were at all productive. And now it's 30 minutes later and like the clothes could have been folded and you could have totally like scrolled through TikTok, watched a video, folded some things, and like you could have had a little bit of both, right? You could have done the thing that you were gonna have to do anyway, or and do the thing that you were trying to do or like utilizing as a procrastination tool. You could have done both at the same time. It's wild. It's what I love about audiobooks. It's what I love about podcasts is the ability to do the things that I don't necessarily want to do or don't necessarily need like a mind to do, if you will. Like I don't need to like be like, all right, so I'm gonna take the left sleeve and put the left sleeve in the middle, and then I'm gonna take the right sleeve and I'm gonna put it over top of it, and then I'm gonna grab the bottom. I'm gonna fold it on top of that, and then we're gonna do a little patty cake, and throw it to the side and put it on the pile, right? I don't need to like really think that through, right? I can just do it and go. And getting in that do it and go flow is what we're talking about. Like do it and go. Do it and go. See what happens. See how it all unfolds for you. Maybe you learn something. Maybe you don't like how it turns out and you learn that like, okay, this is not the way or not the thing to do anymore. That's okay. That is okay. Doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean that you're a bad person. It doesn't mean that you're wrong. It doesn't mean that you failed. Failure is simply a lesson, right? There's like, I feel like there's such a stigma around things not going our way. Like if we, especially if we put it out there, oh my gosh, I started a business. And then, 3 months later, people are like, how's your business going? And then you're like, oh, like don't have a client yet, but I'm still out here, still doing the whatever. And then somehow we have taught ourselves that because, money's not flowing in or whatever, we're failing, right? Like I'm no, like you gotta like really think about, okay, like, yeah, people are expecting to hear. What do you think people are expecting to hear, right? Are you thinking that people are expecting to hear that you are making six figures in the like first 45 days of your business? Or are you like, thinking that people are just wanting to celebrate you, right? And it's kind of funny when you think about it, like we have these expectations of ourselves and we're basically putting these expectations of ourselves onto other people. We have no understanding of why someone else is asking us a particular question until they tell us while they're asking the question. So we're giving meaning to something that doesn't necessarily have that meaning that we're inferring for ourselves, right? So if we're like, oh, like how is such and such going? and maybe it isn't going the way you want it to go. You can say, you know what? Like, I'm excited for the day when you ask me this question and I have like my calendars booked and I have done a triple axel, whatever, quadruple into the splits, something or another. Who knows? Whatever it is that you're practicing. I did my first Ernie, I did my first ATP. Won a game against someone that you admire, whatever it is, right? Like the thing that you like, I'm excited for this to show up for me. And I'm keeping going. I'm putting in the practice. I'm putting in the work. I'm showing up for myself and get excited about that. Get in the flow with that. Yes. Ah, there's the magic. There's the rub, as they say. We get into this mindset so often. And I think it's interesting because you look at children, right? We always tell them to get back up. Kids learning how to ride a bike, they fall over, they scrape their knee, they cry a little bit, or at least I did. You go inside, you clean up the boo-boo, and then you're told, get back out there, get back on the bike, figure it out, keep it moving, keep it rolling, get going. Yeah. And you're all good. You're all good. Don't worry about it. It's all good. Let's keep moving. Yeah. So take that mentality, that childlike exuberance, that childlike mentality of like, yeah, I fell off my bike, but you know what? I'm going to get back on it. I'm going to learn how to do that. I'm going to ride this thing. I'm going to learn today. Get back on it. Keep the training wheels off. We don't need to put them back on. We don't need to keep ourselves, quote unquote, safe because you can still fall with training wheels on. It might be a little bit harder, but you can still do it. You can still do it. Because if you learn with training wheels, if you learn to bowl with the little like guards inside so you never gutter ball, well, are you fully experiencing the life? Are you fully experiencing? Are you mastering? You're mastering training wheels. You're mastering the gutter ball support system thing. Like you're mastering being held up by someone else. Why not master holding yourself up? Why not master taking the radical self-responsibility? Why not master your mindset, really thinking about or letting go of thinking about what it is you're going to do next and allow the inspiration to show up for you. Allow the intuitive hits to show up for you if that's how you work. Allow yourself to do what you are called to do. Find that feeling, whether it's an intuitive hit, whether it's like a knowing in your hands, a knowing in your gut, you hear something. There's different clairs out there, claircognizance, clairaudience. I don't know all the ones like you smell, hear, taste, touch, all the different things. Like people just receive information in different ways, and that's magical and beautiful. So, how do you receive information? How do you receive inspiration and practice it? Work on that tool, work on your gift and be in flow with it. Keep going with it. Love on it. And with that, I invite you to take deeper steps into the Mama T energy. I invite you to sign up for, if you haven't already, the Activate Your Inner Shift meditation series. Just go to www.mamateenergy.com, put in your email address and your name, and then it'll email you the series and really utilize that to open your mind to the possibilities of life. Utilize that to release all the limiting beliefs and the things that are no longer serving you. Just let it all go. Focus on that. And then from there, you can tap into all the different things from private one-on-one sessions to the home membership to mentorship. Do all of those wonderful, great things that align with you. And with that, I will say ta-ta for now, and I love you so big.